I watch a new film every other day. Follow along for recommendations and reviews. Today, I just finished watching the movie titled Teacher's Boy that is showing on Biodun Steven TV. It is the return to streaming for the VDK Film Club because for the last two titles, we have been in cinema watching Call of My Life and The Boy Who Gave, two amazing films. Go and check them out if you haven't. Oh, those films are good. So when it was coming back to streaming, we saw that our woman, Building Steven, she's back with another Building Steven production. And so we had to watch it. Also for the VDK Film Club, we haven't seen Eronini Osinachim since like Brown Sugar. Yeah. And so this is the next film that we are seeing him in. And coincidentally now that I'm realizing, Brown Sugar was with Tina Mba as well. But in that one, Tina was his lover. And now it's his mother. Which is very interesting. But Eronini, I like his acting and he did well here. There's a woman I also want to shout out. Her name is Mary Jeremiah. She played the young Romade's mother and she did such a brilliant job. This film, in comparison to other Building Steven titles like Borrowed Husband or Kenneth's Silence that we've watched recently, I would say that it is the least entertaining of the three. Not saying that it's a bad film. I'm just saying that in terms of entertainment, this is like the least entertaining one of them. I found that somewhere in the middle of this film, I kind of started battling a bit of sleep. I kind of started getting, glossy eyed. But the story itself is very good. Check the film out. It's a good film. The film is about a mother's decision that is wicked but human. Because, I like when I can watch something and like I can understand where this character is coming from. And what she does is evil, it is wicked, but it is also human. You can understand why she does what she does, but does it excuse what she does? No. And then you kind of see the repercussions that her actions have on her child. Like without giving you spoilers, that's what I'll tell you that the film is about. It is a very harrowing story, but true. But also a story of found family and how somebody else can now pick up the ruins that somebody else has left. Like it's a beautiful film. Just again, not super entertaining in the way that Borrowed Husband especially is, or Kenneth Silence to really have you like having conversation. I wouldn't. This one is kind of a more straightforward story in that way. So just go into it knowing that. That's all I want to say for this non-spoiler section. So go and check this film out. It's streaming on YouTube, Building Steven TV. And now for those of us who have watched, if you're ready to come back and now talk about it so that we can gist well with spoilers, then spoilers ahead for those of us who have watched in 3, 2, 1, let us go. All right, now we're in the spoiler section. Please, if you're going to write a comment that has spoilers, just write spoiler alert before you write your comment so that we don't spoil it for people that have not yet watched it. All right, let's start gisting. This spoiler section is not even going to be too long. We're just going to take it person by person, starting off with Iya Romade and her son, and how much of a wicked mother that she was to her son. From the beginning, when the boy is hungry and you now tell him to starve because he's the reason that every man that comes into your life leaves once they see him, to basically also lambasting him because he burnt cloth with iron, saying to your child that if they kidnap you, they'll be doing me a favor, leaving him food that was cold and kind of bad, and still when he was sick, and still now scolding him when you hear that he almost burnt the house down because of this his illness and this his state. You didn't even feel remorse. You're still now even shouting at the good Samaritan that helped your house still be upright, and you're still blaming your child that was sick that you abandoned, shipping him off to boarding school and abandoning him there once you found a man that said that he will be okay with you having a child as long as the child doesn't live together. I'm sure, I think even at the end, Ramadi asked her that did the husband ever know about me? And I don't think she answered that question. And it is implied that the man never knew about Ramadi's existence. So you abandoned your child, madam, simply because you wanted love over your own child, like romantic love. As I said in the non-spoiler section, it's understandable. It is frustrating that being a single mother, this is sometimes the unfortunate reality that some men don't want to date single mothers. But you now don't take it out on your child. You don't blame the child for the circumstances around their birth. This boy didn't ask for the man that you were with to now leave you, which we now even learn at the end of the day that the man didn't quite leave, he died. But you've now carried this resentment and all this anger, put it onto the child that did not ask to be here, and look at what has come. And now at the end of the film, you have come back and you're trying to come and fix it with this boy, and you're saying things like, I carried you in my stomach, trying to do all the like guilt tripping. But as Ramade rightfully says, that was the extent of what you did for me, was carrying me in your stomach. What did you do for me as a mother? This is a woman that her actions almost led to this boy taking his life just because of the amount of evil negative words that the woman had continued to declare upon his head that he had internalized. The boy just felt like it was a burden to everybody, and like that was a result of what you did, madam. And so we thank God for men like Mr. Akonde, Mr. Akande that took Ramade as his child. That once Ramade came into his home, the guy was even giving him food, giving him, like the fantasy that Ramade had always wanted on screen. Even later in Ramade's life, we are seeing that the man is staying, even when Ramade comes back late. Mr. Okande is like, no, I want you to eat this food hot. Such a stark difference to his own mother that just left this boy cold food that was practically spoiled. Like, Mr. Okonde was such a father to him, and God bless the Mr. Okondes of this world. Even in the face of his own wife saying that, like, I don't understand what kind of relationship this is, that woman too, like, I understood her anger and her pain because you've just gotten this child that you don't even know from anywhere that is now basically living with you. Like, I get it. But when she now gave the man an ultimatum that you either choose this very small child or me, I was like, you can't do that. That's very unfair. And then she now like left. And that woman's leaving is actually was now like the catalyst that even drove Ramadi to almost end his own life. Like, I think sometimes adults need to remember the consequences of their actions on children. Like, I think sometimes they are so caught up, and I'm saying this like we as adults can be so caught up in our own lives that we forget that sometimes children are really looking up to you. Children, yes, they are human beings, but they don't yet have sometimes the emotional regulation that you do as an adult. So yes, that woman was so caught up in her anger and in her emotions that were valid, but she was so not caring about the boy that was in front of her that was a child. So even when again Ramadi then grows up and he's talking about how not only his mother but even Mrs. Alconde like are the reasons why he just had such feelings towards women, you can kind of understand how the way that those women treated him in his life affected him and his dating life even when he was older. Like, it's a powerful story. It really is a powerful story of just how we shouldn't let our own anger and our own whatever that we are going through as adults pass on to children, because children are such they are so delicate and they are so impressionable. Ultimately, I really like how this film ended because Ramade didn't quite like just forgive the mother and say, oh yeah, all is forgiven. He told her that, like, I've forgiven you and I've kind of forgotten you too. Like, let's just go back to how we used to be. And nobody owes you forgiveness. Nobody owes you coming back into their life. And after what this woman did to this boy, if he never chooses to speak to her again, he's also within his right not to. So I like the fact that the film did not kind of like force the relationship between two of them. I also like the fact that at the ending, Ramade is able to like move past his hurt, and Mr. Akonde, his father, essentially tells him like, this is not a blame women matter. Everybody can say we can blame any other person for our hurt that we have. Move on and still allow romance into your life. Still give people the benefits of the doubt. And I like that at the end of the film, we now see that he goes and asks that girl out on a date, and it seems like hopefully he has really grown from all of this. Ultimately, I really enjoyed this film. It told a very like powerful story that's very real and has a lot of depth to it. So I really like commend them on that level. Was it the most entertaining film from Building Steven TV that I've watched? No, but it was a film that had a good message at its core. So shout out to Building Steven for this film. If you've watched this film, I'm very curious to know what you think about it. So please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, if you've watched this whole video and you have no idea who I am, my name is VDK. I'm the curator of the VDK Film Club, where every day we watch something new and we just about it like we've done today. Follow along. All right. Until the next film that I watch and the next video that I make, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.